5 o'clock. Let's call the meeting of Executive Committee to order. We have one item in Executive Committee, and it is the Communication 47 2023 Climate Action Plan Progress Update. Lead in, Mr. Blais, or do we just need a motion to? All right, Councillor Froese.
I'll move that representatives from Greenwave Innovations be allowed to address the Executive Committee.
All those in favor? That's carried. Please approach the podium and state your name for the record, and you have 10 minutes to present. Thank you for being here.
No problem. Thanks. Can everyone hear me? Good? Good. Thanks everyone for having us here today. I'm President and CEO of Greenwave Innovations. I'm going to provide you an update on the Climate Action Plan, where we're at, and some of the good work that's been done so far with our team working together with the City of Moose Jaw operations folks. I'm going to start out with letting our lead engineer, Josh Zimrose, talk a little bit about the technical, what we've accomplished in 2023 and some of our results, and I'll wrap it up with some additional summary slides and what we're focused on here in 2024, and we'll take some questions after that. So with that, Josh.
Yeah, so I'm going to start out by talking about the electrical sub-monitoring, which is the bulk of the project and work that we've been doing so far with the City of Moose Jaw. We have electrical sub-monitoring deployed in 10 of the City of Moose Jaw's facilities, and those 10 make up over 40%, closer to 50% of their emissions. So with that, we've completed the installation as of March of 2023, the last building being the Moose Jaw Event Center. We've got 550 unique monitoring points throughout those buildings. And so what that means is that we monitor equipment, we monitor panels, we can monitor individual lighting circuits and so on. And we use that to help reduce the electrical consumption and demand and things like that to reduce GHG emissions, as well as the dollars spent on the utility. We have also integrated 8 out of 10 buildings natural gas sub-monitoring. We use the actual Sask Energy utility meter to grab that data. You can see that in the photo on the right, that golden ticket there, where we integrated natural gas. We have 2 remaining buildings. Those buildings have been delayed just from a couple different issues. We had some network complexity, as well as some wiring tampering, and we're estimated to be complete in April of 2024, the natural gas side of things. The third item that we monitor in these buildings is water. Now the city has been updating the water meter displays so that we can get really granular information off those water meters. We have 12 meters that we're going to be integrating with. Of those 12, we've already integrated into 4 buildings. Of those 4 buildings, we've detected leaks in each of them, and we've resolved 4 of those leaks already. We have an additional 2 leaks under investigation. There's another 4 meters that are prepped and ready, as the city has already replaced the registers. And we have 4 that the city still needs to replace the meters before we can install. And we expect to be finished that in 2024. On the figure on the bottom there, you can see the very first day that we actually installed in Playmore Palace, we had detected a leak that night. We resolved that leak the next day, and that leak rate was 290 liters every 15 minutes being wasted. So our goal here is to eliminate all wastewater. Continuing on with some of the energy conservation activity tracking. This is a tool that we use to track all of the electrical, natural gas, and water corrections that we've made or conservation opportunities that we've implemented. You can see on the pie chart there the breakout of where these savings are coming from. So you can see 17% of our savings have come from solar, 17% have come from no or low cost opportunities. And then there's a large portion that comes from a blower replacement that we continue to track the savings from that capital expenditure. We have 18 energy conservation actions implemented to date, with 42 under investigation. We're moving more from the low and no cost energy activities to getting into some capital, which Dean will touch on right away. And as I mentioned, on the water side, the reductions that we've seen so far is 8.5% compared to 2019's consumption, and that's only using 4 out of 12 meters, which represents 28% of the overall water consumption.
Good, thanks, Josh. I just want to acknowledge just quickly the work that Derek and his team, as well as Josh and the engineering side, have been doing using the data to get those results. It's been a lot of hard work and ongoing meetings, but it's paying off, and we're really excited. And I would acknowledge that I believe, unless someone proves me otherwise, that Moose Jaw is probably the first municipality that's integrated live electricity, water, and natural gas for real-time monitoring within any municipality in Saskatchewan, I would say maybe Canada. So the innovation that's being done here, pushing forward conservation, should really be recognized. With that, I just want to provide a little bit of insight as to what's been happening on electrical utility bills and in terms of GHG emissions from SaskPower, as that's really critical to understand in terms of what have we actually reduced through the tracking and the activities versus what have the bills done. So just looking at the rates from SaskPower in 2023 versus 2019, they've actually increased by 7.6%. Mostly a significant increase in peak demand KVA and in carbon tax, which we all know about, coming again here April 1st, while kilowatt rate is actually decreased. So that 7.6%, we really have to take that into account, knowing our bills will be up that much having done nothing. And that's where the 12.5% of actual reductions that we've tracked become so important for those bills not to even be more than they were. So the good news is the bills are down 6.9%, but you can see those little elevated marks that would have been there. Another 12.5% would have been on your bills, would it not been for the kilowatt and KVA reductions that the team has been doing working together. So it's important to note where a lot of other communities that haven't done anything, their bills are up significantly more than what they would have been. I just wanted to touch on quickly, just for educational purposes, as we get towards the results of where we're at with the Climate Action Plan. SaskPower's GHG emissions actually went up a little bit last year, and this is taken from their most recent annual report. So this is a big piece of what the City of Moose Jaw is relying on for results, is that we need SaskPower to continually clean up the grid to reduce the emissions. So we're going to have a little blip this year in a slight increase on the electrical side in terms of the GHG emissions from the amount of power that was used. But we do expect that to go back down. And you can see in their illustration where they were at in the dark orange and that blip that came back up. But they are showing a steep decrease to continue on their sustainability plans. Ultimately still on the goal to reach zero by 2050 and having reduced by 50% by 2030. So just an FYI that part of the reductions in results that you're relying on and our results that we're posting each year go up and down a little bit, hopefully down steadily going forward, just as a result of what the electrical grid has in terms of the amount of emissions on our grid. So a few of these screens that hopefully you've seen them when you come into this building, and some of the others that we have of the engagement screens that we've got in your community buildings, and an exciting development we've done in our product this year. So this is actually a number as of now in terms of with the climate action and the numbers that Josh alluded to with the 1.7 million kilowatt hours that we've been able to quantify being reduced, being 289 homes of energy use. The development I'm referring to, we're going to have this year, these numbers automatically update from the energy tracker. Right now, they're things that we upload in the background and we update as often as we can, but this is going to be live coming in. So your solar numbers, and Derek, if you advance to the next slide for me, please. Your live solar numbers coming off the panels, as well as the number of homes that we've reduced and the number of cars taken off the road. This is going to be live implemented in 2024, that we're going to see these numbers changing as the data comes in. So we're quite excited by that accomplishment as well. So hopefully you see these numbers and you see these results, and It's nice to see the use that your city's been doing as well on the dashboards, putting community events and various other things on the screens. As Josh alluded to, this is just such a significant number. Those 4 leaks that have been found on the 4 meters that we've integrated so far is 2.8 million liters of water annually being saved over 1.1 Olympic swimming pools. And just to talk again, that's only 4 of the 12 meters that have been integrated as part of the plan so far, which is only a small percentage. So that 2.8 liters, though, does represent 30% of the meters that we're looking at and 8.5% of the overall water use in the 10 buildings. So just a massive number to detect those leaks in real time and be able to resolve them right away, avoiding this large amount of waste. So lastly, to the results of where we're at and versus what we reported last year. So again, back to the Climate Action Plan goals, the first one being 20% reduction by 2025. We're happy to report we're now at 15.6% reduction. We actually lost a little bit because of that little blip I mentioned on the electrical side with the emissions going up from SaskPower on how much a kilowatt emits, but we did get some gains on the gas side. A little bit of a probably warmer winter overall, that gas consumption was down. As Josh mentioned to me on the way here, that we're just getting the gas data as well to be able to measure and quantify it as we get the rest of the meters online. So we'll have more data for that, but still good numbers at 15.6. We think the work we're doing now on more of the wins and more of the capital planning that we're doing, we're well on our way to the 2025 goal and then the further goal of 2023. And towards the zero water waste, as we've mentioned a few times, 8.5% down in overall consumption and eliminated the leaks in 4 of the buildings so far. And just a matter of time till the rest of the meters are integrated and we've resolved any leaks that are now or in the future in the other remaining buildings. I said last slide, but I think there is one more here. Derek, perhaps two. A little bit about grant and financing. Quite excited about the opportunity that the data is presenting itself towards funding. Derek continues to lead this charge here, where we're going to help him with continued applications into the CBR program from FCM. And there's a few different stages of that, and definitely towards the capital portion of it, the amounts eligible increase. Also very excited about this last bullet here. We've been talking with Canada Infrastructure Bank for a good portion of a year plus here now about a creative financing program that they offer that we're looking to secure some funds with that'll help implement the capital. So really a sequential process again of using our data to identify and prioritize the capital projects and using the Canada Infrastructure Bank's low interest patient financing to help execute those capital projects, where the utility savings can help pay for the financing and the loan to pay it back. So upfront capital paid through the program, paid back through the utility savings. So we're very excited where we're at with them, and we feel we're really close to being able to present this. We've discussed it with city administration, but we're getting close to really having it on the table to present as an option. So very excited about that. And that was the last slide. So hopefully we were within the 10 minutes, and Josh or I are happy and eager to take any questions that you have.
Thank you very much for your presentation. You were over the 10 minutes, but that's okay.
Sorry.
I wasn't going to cut you off, but not by much. Thank you very much. Questions, Council, for our Green Wave Innovations team? Councillor Froese.
Thank you, Chair. You said something about us being first, and I'm sorry you kind of moved a little quickly through that. Can you just maybe add a little bit more details or elaborate? Like, what are we actually first in?
Yeah, I would suggest that you're the very first municipality that has integrated live data of electricity, water, and gas in your major municipal facilities, that you're actively looking at conservation, leak detection, risk of building life safety with natural gas. I know for sure it's the first in Saskatchewan because of our partnership with Sask Energy to integrate live data off their gas meters. And anything that we've presented and work we're doing in other communities outside of Saskatchewan, as we present what Moose Jaw is doing, it seems to be coming across as a first. So I would encourage you all to talk about it and share it with others as as we do and celebrate it, because it is a big accomplishment, and I think the innovation that's been implemented is right there with any other. So if I hear of it, I'll update you, but I think you're the first until someone tells us otherwise.
Well, it's always good to be in the front of the line. The view is always a little bit better from there. I appreciate the report. It's really interesting to see what we actually save when we catch things like leaks. You know, we don't always think about, you know, the water leakage, for example, how much that can actually impact if left unattended. And I think that's a really important point, and it certainly illustrates that. And then the savings that we've had on the solar panels and those, and how those equate into actual dollars saved, you know, immediately. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the live data, what that looks like, and being able to check that out too. So I really appreciate your presentation. Yeah, very informative.
Good,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Logan.
Thank you, Chair. Question and comments through you to the gentleman. Thank you very much for coming again and for the report. It's written down here. It's exciting to see the tangible proof of where we're headed, and you know, the numbers don't lie, so we appreciate seeing that. I do have one question regarding the wire tampering that had gone on at the energy meter through Sask Energy. Is there a way in the future to protect, not only at that location, but in future locations, to protect that wiring? Because unfortunately, in the world we live in now, it's not going to be a one-of, I don't think. And I'm just wondering if there's plans in the future to be able to protect that
Yeah, go ahead.
for future locations.
Yeah, so for future locations, we've actually spec'd a different kind of exterior weatherproof junction box that comes with a lock and key. So that'll prevent anything on our side from being tampered with. Sask Energy, I know, deals with their own issues, but they're there to fix it quite fast because they want to get paid.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, just, you know, I don't think it's going to be a one-off. I'd like it to be that, in fact, but I doubt it. And it'd be nice to see that one little thing improved in the future. And other than that, yeah, thanks for coming, and appreciate the report, and I'm just interested to see where it goes from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Council? Councillor Robinson?
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I'm curious about a couple of things. You used 2019 as a baseline. That was a kind of a high energy use period for Saskatchewan. Why did you use 2019 as the baseline?
Yeah, it's a good question. When we did the climate plan, we debated for a while what to use. 2019, we really wanted to use, though, as the most recent, when we started the project, to say this is where we're at. A lot of other, you know, action plans and such use some pretty old data where, you know, there had been improvements and things done up to that point where you could add those into your wins. And we really wanted to use, this is where we're at. This is the most recent year of data just before COVID, where if we'd used that year, it would have been really unfair of how low it was. But that was the most accurate as to the most recent full year coming into where we actually then wanted to deploy solutions and technology and analytics and move the needle forward, not take advantage of, you know, things that have been done prior to that. This was the starting point truly when we were going to install and we were going to start doing things. So,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I can certainly appreciate, like some of the other councillors mentioned, about leak detection and just reduction in itself. But as with any type of report, you have to dig a little deeper. As you mentioned, I think an increase in utility with SaskPower of around 7.6%. That same period, our inflation rate went up by 14.8%. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, there's always a little bit of a caveat to it all as you digest all this stuff. But thank you very much.
thank you.
Any other questions, Council? Seeing none, thank you very much for being here.
Good. Thank
Appreciate
you very
it.
much. Thank you.
What are your wishes, Council? Councillor Froese?
Thanks. I'd move that Communication EC 2024-0047 2023 Climate Action Plan Progress Update be received as information and filed.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that motion? All those in favor? That is carried. Next on the agenda are some confidential items. Need a motion, Council. Councillor Blanc.
Thank you, Chair. I would move that the Executive Committee close the meeting to the public and proceed in camera pursuant to Section 94(2) of the Cities Act as confidential information is contained within one or more of the exemptions of Part 3 of the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, in particular sections, I don't have the sections,
Sections 16,
16,
23.
23, and 15.
Thank you, Councillor Blanc. All those in favor? That is carried.